Oh. Erica,
Yeah.
have you ever noticed how loud everything is right now? And I don't mean like noise. I mean noise with purpose.
Yeah.
I mean, you and I have talked.
Yeah.
We talk about different things. Everywhere you look, there's a new outrage,
Yes.
a new feud, a new trend, a new emergency that demands your attention right now. Politics, culture wars, celebrity drama, which we really don't care about.
No.
Social media meltdowns, constant, relentless, and definitely exhausting.
Yes, it is.
And it makes you wonder, is this all accidental
No.
or is it curated?
No. I don't think it's accidental at all.
Because distraction isn't just a byproduct of modern life, it's a tool. When people are divided, they're easier to manage.
Mm-hmm.
When people are angry, they stop listening.
Yes. I have experienced all of
Yeah,
these.
exactly. When people are overwhelmed, they stop asking deeper questions. They give up.
Mm-hmm.
Think about it. While you're arguing with each other over headlines designed to provoke emotion, major decisions get made quietly in the background about money, power, technology, food, health, and freedom, everything that we've talked about on this show.
Mm-hmm.
Things that actually shape our lives don't usually trend on social media.
Mm-hmm.
When they do, it's often too late.
Yeah.
You know, like we've talked about, you know, the pharmaceutical industry and those things. Those have already, you know,
Yeah.
those are already affecting us.
And it's like when a new bill has been signed and they say, oh, well, that was snuck into the bill.
Correct.
Nobody was paying attention. That happened overnight.
Distraction doesn't mean nothing is real. It means the spotlight is pointed away from what matters most. These are the distractions we're talking about. And the most effective distractions don't feel forced. They feel personal.
Mm-hmm.
They hit your identity, your values, your fears. They turn neighbors into enemies and convince us the real problem is each other.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you and I have sat down there today and we've watched, you know, a few independent journalists talking about stuff that's going on around the United States. And you can just see and hear the separation and the divide amongst the people.
Oh, yeah. You can't ignore it.
Meanwhile, attention has become the most valuable currency on earth. Your focus is monetized, your outrage is profitable, and your confusion is useful. So ask yourself this: when was the last time you had space to think? Really think. Without being interrupted by a notification, a headline, or someone telling you that you should be mad about something.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Maybe,
so true.
Yeah. Maybe the goal isn't to control what you believe. Maybe it's just to keep you too distracted to notice the pattern. Because a distracted population doesn't organize. Sorry about that. A distracted population doesn't organize. It doesn't unite. And it doesn't look up from the screen long enough to ask who benefits from this. Something we talk about all the time around here. So maybe the real rebellion isn't outrage. Maybe it's awareness. Turning the volume down, stepping back, questioning narratives instead of fighting over them. Because the moment you stop reacting is the moment distraction starts to lose its power. Welcome to the Oddcast Podcast.
Off the record.
I'm Blackie.
I'm Erica.
Thanks everybody for joining us tonight. We greatly appreciate it. We know weather is crazy all over 90% of the country. Here in Middle Tennessee, we've kind of had I know at the beginning of the week when I was sick, and sorry we didn't have a show Sunday, I was pretty sick.
Yeah.
My nurse here took care of me very well. Didn't start feeling better till probably Wednesday, Thursday. Still have a cough. Sinuses are still messed up, but it is what it is, right? It's that time of the year. But we kind of wondered what we were going to talk about last week. And the topic came up of all these things being piled on us at once. So we wanted to talk about that. And I just started something I didn't want to start yet. The weather. I guess we're still on the weather.
Yeah.
I watched a little bit of Woodwalkers today, and everybody chiming in on their weather and letting everybody know that they're okay. And I am looking outside right now, and we're getting what I like to call a freeze frost. So we have a freeze fog. We have a fog outside, and the temperature last before we came up, I think, was 29.
Oh.
It's 29 or 30 degrees. So we had put tarps on the windows of the vehicles, and I took the tarp off because we thought about running to Walmart, and we kind of thought better about it. And I looked out a little bit ago, and the window's completely iced over again. So tells me that what's going on outside is probably not the greatest. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
But we hope everybody else is having some decent. William, I don't
Boo
care.
hoo, William.
That's horrible.
55 degrees. He's struggling in that.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Can't go out on the beach. It's too cold. Love you, brother. We actually missed the brunt of the weather. We were on the warm side of what hit Nashville, and we were really grateful for that. We saw Nashville videos and pictures coming out of Nashville, and yuck, trees down. You know, you talk about what they call the exploding trees, which is just a tree breaking in half, basically. But sort of like what Bigfoot would probably do to a tree, throw it over. But anyway, I think tomorrow our high is upper 20s.
Okay.
The low tonight is around 19. And then the next 2 nights, well, I say Monday and Tuesday, Monday night into Tuesday morning, it's minus wind chill. So that excites the bejesus out of me. So
yeah, we're getting some measurements here, some reports. Gary in Oklahoma had 15.
Oh, you got 15. Oh my goodness.
Was 5 this morning. Denise has 15 on Long Island. And I think Billy might have mentioned before that somebody had 11 inches, but anyhow, it's nice to hear the reports, and it's nice to hear from y'all. That way we know, you're safe. So we appreciate you checking in.
Sandra, I don't know where you're located, but you can just hush, please.
What is it?
80.
No way.
She said we reached 80 today, so she's probably in the tip of Florida or something like that.
Gary, 15 degrees.
Oh, yeah. See, that's
8 inches of snow.
We understand it's that time of the year. I moved to Tennessee because I wanted warmer temperatures than Ohio. And consistently, we get that here. But there's always that one weekend out of the year we get that sub-zero weather. And that happens to be tomorrow night. So got to drip the faucets and play it safe so you don't freeze any pipes. And I don't want to do that. So
Sandra's in Central Florida.
Oh, nice.
Carmen's good. Awesome.
That's awesome. Yeah. We want everybody safe. That's for sure. This is they said the storm to beat all storms. I know my family up in Dayton, Ohio's got, at last I heard, 11 inches, and it was still snowing. My son seems to think he'll get about 18 total, but we'll see. We'll see. What's Virex got? 3 feet of the fluffy white stuff and counting.
3 feet.
Not supposed to let up until 5 a.m. tomorrow.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, well, you're Canadian. Yeah, that's part of your nature up there. I mean, I know you northern people, anybody in Minnesota or New York or upper New York and that, you guys get that stuff too. So, in Michigan. But anyway, let's talk about what, the opening monologue was. We titled this one, Are We Being Distracted on Purpose? It seems like it used to be every month there might be a new top news story, or every 2 months. Now it seems to be every week. And the media is in on this. There's no doubt that it's, what can we talk about this week to change people's minds about what happened last week? And everything from, you can take control of that now if you want. I've got everything. Everything from, let's go. Remember when the Epstein files were big and everybody wanted to know what was on the Epstein files, and we still do, and most of us still do. But there's so many things that
I personally haven't paid attention to that. So, but go ahead.
But most people want to. Most people want to know who's on that. I don't care who's on it. I think I've said before. Yes, I back a person for president. That's kind of how this all works. That's part of being in this republic of ours, is we have the ability to elect somebody we want in office. Is the person perfect? Never. I got into an online argument with, well, it really wasn't an argument. It was proving my point. But I got into an online argument with somebody about, the person that's in our office right now, Donald Trump. And all they could do is Trump this, Trump that, Trump this, Trump that. And I'm like, look, everything you've said is absolutely negative. There's a lot of things positive going on as well. But even when, other presidents were in line, I could still be positive about some of the things they did. That's kind of how this works.
It's just that it's an answer to conflict, and it's not the right answer. It is just a distraction. It's just giving an answer. It's pointing blame when it's not even a topic that should be involved. But that's just my 2 cents on that.
It's when I'm trying to carry on a decent conversation with someone about something they disagree with. And right now, the big thing is the stuff that's going on in Minneapolis. That's the big news right now. And when I'm trying to carry on a conversation with somebody and all they can do is drop F-bombs and talk about, Donald Trump and this and that and F-bomb and Donald Trump, look, you've lost me. There is no coherent conversation coming from you. It's just anger. There's nothing. You're not going to change my mind about anything, and I'm not going to change your mind. And I understand that. That's how politics work. It shouldn't be a team thing. Oh, I'm team this and I'm team that. It should never be that way.
I was just going to say, that's where my brain went. I'm not into sports really, but that's the analogy that came to my mind is people are die hard a specific team, no matter what you say. And you're always going to be wrong, no matter what the points prove. You're always going to be wrong because some people are so diehard a certain thing.
And it works this way, with politics. It works this way. And we're talking politics tonight because we talk politics every week. We just do it in a different form. This is still a conspiracy theory. And what I mean by that is this a psyop that every week they have to, oh no, this has been exposed. What's the next big news story we can bring up? To me, Epstein files were probably one of the biggest things that should have been brought up.
And we've been talking about that on chat, but William just made an excellent point. The difference is that Epstein involved international leaders and may well have been intelligence himself. Those people will not allow the names to come out. An excellent point.
That is a very excellent point. And everybody should understand that. There is a hierarchy in this world. It's never going to change.
There are untouchables.
That's what money does. We were talking about the pharmaceutical industry a little bit, I think while I was sick, as a matter of fact, and just with somebody else online. And I was telling them about, the Rockefeller family and their control over, not just oil at the time, but the pharmaceutical industry and how they were the first billionaires. And was that 1913? He was the first billionaire, David Rockefeller or John Rockefeller. I think it was 1930. Can you imagine somebody being a billionaire
before the Great Depression? It was before
in 1913. And so it's really wild to think about that. But that's how society works. There's a caste system. Always is a caste system. There'll always be a caste system. I've always hoped. I can't say I've always hoped. I always listen to people that are they want peace and the socialism thing. Socialism will never work. I don't care what anybody says. Man is greedy. Women are greedy too. But man is greedy. Man is warlike. That'll always happen. It'll never change, ever. So we have to learn to live around that, to live our best lives in that situation. Yeah, we're always going to be controlled. We're going to have somebody in power that we don't agree with 100% of the time. Hell, you might not agree with him 50% of the time or 20% of the time. Mm-hmm. But that doesn't give you the right to go out and start tearing things down and trying to go out and hurt people. And that's just not that's not a civilized society.
Yeah.
And, some of the other stories we talked about lately, Greenland. Oh my gosh, we're going to go in, we're going to invade Greenland. We weren't going to invade Greenland. That was never an issue. Okay. If you look at like a Louisiana Purchase, if you look at, all the different things that we've bought, the Alaska Territory Purchase that we bought, all these different, we've purchased land throughout time. And Greenland was hopefully going to be one of those lands. And it might still, it sounds like it is. It's great for shipping. There's a lot of things, natural ores, raw minerals, oil. I mean, it's all there. Venezuela, there was another one, exact same thing. I don't know the full story of Venezuela, but that was another big headline. We were going to go to war with Venezuela, and we didn't. We did what we had to do, and we left. Then it was, oh my God, now he started a war, and there's no war. War can't be war without a declaration from Congress. So, NATO, leaving NATO, a lot of us think that would be a great idea. Again, that was another big headline that came in. Let's leave NATO. What's Brian saying? Let's face it, the powers that be will never let a crisis. That is exactly right. Exactly right. Russia-Ukraine war. We've been on this for umpteen million years, it seems. Let's give them all our money, let them blow each other up, give them more money. We'll talk about peace, but then we'll give them more money so they can blow each other up. None of it makes sense. If you want to stop a war, you quit giving them money. You quit giving them money for weapons. And then somebody has to concede. That's the only way you can get around that.
Here's a comment for you.
We should be buying Canada. They are dangerous, can be invaded by them. Wouldn't take much for attack from them. Well, Gene, I would be okay with that. Alberta already wants to be a part of the United States. They're trying for their independence from Canada. And right now I'm at the situation where I'd be like, hey, let's take Alberta and they can have Minnesota. I know people in this. Well, our friend Dan Hamilton from the Cryptid Podcast lives in Minnesota. There are good people everywhere. There are bad people everywhere. But the politicians is what makes it bad. So I would gladly take Alberta. Beautiful country. If I didn't have to have a visa, I would go through the mountains. People could hunt Sasquatch there all the time. I mean, it'd be beautiful to have. As far as all of Canada, I don't want Quebec. Yeah, you go. Right, Robinson. Will Robinson. Danger, Will Robinson. Danger. Anyway, yes, I agree with that 100%. 100%. Remember the UFO disclosure was, oh my gosh, UFOs are real. And nobody talked about it. Oh, these things are real. We've got, the government said this. Whether they were right or wrong, we saw UFOs. People saw UFOs. What about all the drones that were going around town? Oh, somebody said they weren't real, so we'll just forget about them. No, we have brains. Again, one thing we stipulate on this show is do your research. On all of this, do your research. If there's something that you can't understand or something you can't, I know. I was looking at wrong. Yeah. I spent a lot of time in Canada, and I've been in Ontario eastward, never been westward. I'm looking forward to that day, but someday. It is a beautiful country. Sorry about your politicians. Of course, people could say that about us at times as well. But the UFO disclosure, what happened to that? Remember, we had all these videos on the news. It was everywhere, and we had all these top generals talking about it, and then it just kapooey.
Mm-hmm.
They stopped talking about it. So why do they? And that's a good question. There's people that still are looking that stuff up and still disclose or still, researching that, and they should be.
Oh, here we go.
I was waiting for something like this. What do you think about Tucker Carlson and his information on the Great Replacement? The Great Replacement theory. I haven't gotten into it too much. A little bit. I'm assuming by Great Replacement you're talking about like a population thing, or
let me look that up.
She's going to look it up real quick. I'm one of those people that still likes Tucker Carlson. So, there's been a lot about Tucker Carlson, Candace Owens, and all these people that are now traitors, but I think they're free thinkers. I think they're just thinking outside the box because you can't think in the box. A box is square or rectangle. Well, depending on what kind of whatever you ordered from Amazon, but whatever the box is rectangle, square, and you can't get out of the box.
So according to AI, it's that non-white immigrants are being brought into the U.S. to deliberately replace legacy white voters.
Okay. I'm glad you brought this up. I totally believe that's going on. 100%. We're seeing it in Minneapolis right now. We're seeing it in Columbus, Ohio right now. We're seeing it, that's just with the Somalis. And I'm not racist. I am totally not racist. I promise you that. But I do think that the white people are being put to the side. I think, whenever you hear somebody say it's the white man's fault, it's, and I'm not talking about Native Americans. I'm talking about, we have no culture. We have tons of culture. We built this country. Anybody that says they built this country that's not white is they helped. That's the way I look at it. And William said, my wife is Hispanic. My son-in-law is black. Click on that. The whole replacement idea is difficult for me. My wife is Hispanic. My son-in-law is black. And my daughter-in-law is Hispanic. I don't know how to think about the replacement idea.
I think that your answer is a perfect point. I think that that's the way that we see it. We don't care what color you are. It doesn't affect, how we would treat you or if you were family or not, and it's just like, that's the way that we feel.
My problem with the Great Replace, or with people bringing other people in to replace us, is they don't change their culture. Most people, and I'm not saying all, most people love coming to the United States and they want to live the same way we live. But there's a large majority of people being brought in or have been brought in over the past administration and prior that don't have the same things in mind that we want, whether it be religion, which we have a freedom of religion. But when you change people's lifestyles, if you have a town that is a predominantly Christian town and you bring Muslims in, and they live the way they want to live because our leaders are letting them live that way, then the Christians end up getting pushed out. And that's what's happening right now in this country. And I think a lot of people should be concerned with that.
Well, that wouldn't be an issue if other religions weren't being overbearing and trying to take control. That's, to me, what makes it different.
Well, like when I'll say that there's probably some really good Muslim people out there. I don't know. Actually, I don't even think I know any Muslims. Where I live, there's probably no way. Actually, we probably do have a few here. We do have some Hindus or Muslims. I don't know what they are. I don't care, to be honest with you. Just don't change the system around here. Don't change the politics. Don't change the
right here.
Or try. You're leaving your country because it is a dangerous and escape. Yeah. Don't come here making our country your country. That's the best way to say it.
And then here too.
I don't care about race, religion, or anything else. If you follow our laws and you don't change our culture, I am fine with it. Absolutely. Mm-hmm. And that's the way it's always been. But now people are being inserted on purpose, I believe. And look what's happening in Dearborn, correct. And that's not just Dearborn. I mean, Dearborn, I know the mayor said that there was a Christian pastor that came in and said, look, we don't want to hear your your 5 a.m. call to prayer, over the loudspeakers, we don't, and then they said, well, we don't want to hear your church bells. Well, you came to our country, so you assimilate to our ways. If you want to have a call to prayer, make it later in the day, but don't make it when people are sleeping before they go to work. That's the kind of fights that are going on right now. And that's one of the big issues going on.
Well, that is disruptive in my opinion. So,
yeah. So, I know what I'm Irish, German, and I believe there's a little Cherokee in me. That's what I was told. I've never done the 23andMe. Might be a podcast one of these days. I don't believe in 23andMe and them getting your DNA that easy. Make it hard for them. Don't just hand it over. Yeah. Excuse me.
And Carmen, I'm sorry to hear that, because it's not her fault.
Click on it.
Like,
oh, yeah.
That she cannot help that, like I'm sorry y'all have to mess with that type of mindset. But
click on Jean again right there, down. That's absolutely right, Jean.
It should be as simple as that.
It should be that simple. But we go back to keep us separated, keep us from uniting.
This one right here is so true.
The problem here, this is from Denise. The problem here is we cater to some of the immigrants and we don't remember the USA people. That is very true. And it's evident. It's evident every day now. I'm all about people coming here, leaving a war-torn nation, or just getting away from a dictator for a better life. Obviously, I'm one of those people that believes there are ways you're supposed to do it. You follow the law. You get, what's the thing I'm looking for? You get, they run background checks and everything. And that's the way it should be. Her ex-sister-in-law did that. She spent about 10 years to get a U.S. citizen?
Well, it was at least 10 years of follow-up.
Lots. Unfortunately, it's lots of money, but you can't just start bringing people in. Because let me tell you right now that if anybody knows Venezuela's crime culture dropped. The reason it dropped is Venezuela opened up all their prisons and shipped all their prisoners to the border here, and they came across the border. That would be your Tren de Araguas, your MS-13s. I don't know what all the gangs, but if you do your research, you'll find that out, and that's what happened. And those people came into here. Maduro could say that, oh, look, we don't have any crime anymore. We are a good nation, only because they're killing the people they don't like down there. And the bad people are all here now, or not just in the United States. They're everywhere. It's happening in every European country. And that's why when Jean talked about the Great Replacement, that's not just here. I want everybody to enjoy the things we have here in the United States and how beautiful it is, but don't come in and change it. Enjoy it with us. I mean, that's the way it's supposed to be. That's the way it was with our ancestors coming here. They received a lot of flack. A lot of Irish and Scottish and Welsh had to be, you want citizenship, you're going to have to fight in the Civil War. We're sending you off to battle. You can earn your citizenship that way. Or you can work in the sweatshops and everything like that. And that's how they became citizens. They were, if you broke the law, you were out. You were on a ship back to Ireland, Scotland, Wales, Germany, Ireland, or Italy, wherever.
No questions asked.
Questions asked. Or depending on what you did, they might have just killed you, It's just, I know this is a little off topic with the distractions, but this is part of the distraction. Jean says, you want to read? Go ahead and read it.
Well, Jean said, it is a real slap in the face to everyone who immigrated here legally, spent the money, did the paperwork, continued the cost and paper to stay, pay taxes, and the illegals come in and get money. And I've seen that firsthand in my family because my former sister-in-law did come from Asia. And I saw, the whole process. And she did the right thing for that. She went around the right way to do it. And she was never awarded money for coming in.
Never given a free cell phone?
Never given a debit card. Never given a cell phone. Never getting free health care.
Man.
So, yes, that's a very valid point. And then this, I pointed this because of what I believe Denise said earlier. We don't. The problem here is we cater to some of the immigrants and we don't remember the USA people. And my mind immediately went to veterans. And so here's Denise again. Sorry. Another one of my issues here is they are giving immigrants $3,000 a month. That's insane. Housing, and the vets get nothing. I don't think that's right.
Well, I know we were following what was going on in New York City as far as the illegals coming in and them housing them in big fancy hotels, and the hotels were making large amounts of money from the city for housing those people. They weren't allowing any guests. Of course, would you want to be a guest there? And I'm not talking these are the best of the best people. They're families, poor families coming in, and they're getting to stay at, say, the Ritz-Carlton, if that's even a hotel anymore. I know it used to be a big fancy one. But then there's homeless veterans out on the street that have to maybe find a shelter to sleep in that aren't getting money.
And remember when, it's been a while now, probably like 2 years or longer, I don't know, but they were talking about the illegal immigrants coming in and getting to stay at the nice hotels and how they were being destructed.
Yeah.
And who is going to pay for that? How are they going to get fixed?
So here's how it's going to get paid for is the city is going to pay to fix it, and they up the taxpayers' money, the taxes, so the taxpayer is paying the city more so that the city can fix the hotels. You don't think that Hilton is going to have to fix them. No, they have contracts with these hotels. And it's a shame that we've gotten to that point. I'm a little controversial when I come in and I say, I'm America first. I'm America first, and I'm Americans first. You'll see me post that sometimes on my our Oddcast page, or even my page, mostly my page. I try to separate them a little bit. But I believe that we should take care of our people first. And veterans, to me, are the number one people that need to be taken care of. We live in a town. Now, you guys have always heard me say that this is, it's a super small town. And we live in a town that when you go to dinner in one of these little cafes, you might see 2, 3, 4 veterans hats, guys, Navy veteran, Marine veteran, Air Force veteran, Army veteran. I think I've even seen Merchant Marine veterans. We have a lot of former LEOs here, and they just wanted to come here for the quiet, to live a quiet life, solitude, and not every one of them can do that. I'm sorry, what did William say? I'd like to read that.
Oh, the one Jean had?
Oh, is it Jean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, at William. Yeah.
I have 2 nieces and married black men, very nice men. And between them, they have 13 kids, beautiful kids, and 6 grandkids. Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. I just, a lot of us aren't paying attention. I'm not going to say there's a lot of people out there not paying attention to what's going on around them. Go to a gas station, go to a hotel, go to not a thrift store, but like a convenience store, and look at the type of people that are running those convenience stores. They don't just run them, they own them. And then think to yourself, how does this happen? There are, I'm sure, lots of independent or people that want to run a business, but it's hard for them to get a business loan. I know I sound more, maybe I am, I'm not. When you take care of Americans first, you give them the opportunities to do what needs to be done in this country. whether it's helped them succeed. If they have the ability and the money, give them the loan for the business to start a business, have American-owned businesses. And yes, Gene, absolutely. Absolutely. If people don't know that, then they're not paying attention at all to anything. But China owns land around 90% of our military bases. Have you heard much about that? No, you don't. Apparently, we know that. We just don't do anything about it.
Mm-hmm.
But then again, if you knew how much control China had in our country, they have their own police force here. In a lot of blue cities, there's the Chinese police operate out of there. And also with that, you also have the Sharia police. You know, they say it doesn't exist, but if you go to Austin, Texas, just recently, they were shut down, but they were going to build an all Muslim city with their own Sharia police force in the United States of America. That has nothing to do with the United States of America. We weren't.
So sorry.
And Gene, what can we the people do? Well, there's an extreme version. Other than that, I can't tell you. And I'm not telling you the extreme version. We're about ready to see that play out now with all this political talk going on. But what do? Well, you can't write your congressman because your congressman doesn't give a shit. You know, you can write all these politicians, but you know, and I know the politicians are in for themselves. There are a few good. I love Tim Burkett here in Tennessee. I think the dude seems pretty level-headed, just seems to really, Marsha Blackburn, I don't know. But I mean, there's a lot of good people out there.
Mm-hmm.
You just don't get to hear much about them because they're not raising the ruckus that the rest of them raise. How many times have you seen Chuck Schumer up there just making a fool of himself that can't even speak English anymore? Or Mitch McConnell or Lindsey Graham or all these people, and somebody's going to bring it up, term limits. We could defeat a lot of the politics that go on in this country with term limits. I'll check my blood pressure after the show. It does me too. And Denise, I have to step away. And that's why politics are tough for people to talk about. Not so much for me because I want to know, growing up, I've got a big anarchy tattoo on my foot. Growing up, I was anti-government, anti-police, anti-everything. I was basically what you would call Antifa now. Now, there was no Antifa, and I would have never acted like Antifa, but I was that much against everything. But as you grow up, and as you get your paychecks, and as you buy property, as you buy a house, as you see taxes coming out of everything, and you wonder to yourself, where's my money going? And then when you start paying attention to where your money's going, you start caring. You start, well, wow, my money goes towards this, or so much of my money goes towards transgenders in Ethiopia catering business. That's the kind of stuff I'm talking about. We don't know where our money goes. Our politicians don't work with us. They won't tell you about anything. And if they do, they usually lie about it. She mentioned something about bills being passed and how every bill to me should be a single bill. We are going to vote on this, but everybody knows what happens. We've got the Affordable Care Act. We're going to throw 500 other things in there. So if you pass that, all those 500 things pass. But you have to read through 2,000 pages to know what you're going to be voting on. Well, who the hell does that? Who's got the time? Who can okay, first of all, tax form. Can you understand your tax form? So imagine what these laws are written like. And I will guarantee you that 90% of the politicians that sign these laws into law have no idea what's in it. It's the lawyers that create the laws. And that's usually how it works. And Gene, it goes back to you, or Denise, whichever one's, I'm sorry, whoever said, what can we do about it? I don't know.
Gene said, well, China bought Purina Pet Food Company. It shows Sweden's Nestle owns it. But if you search Nestle Company, it is owned by China. I did not know that.
Yeah, we've got a chart. It might be on the computer. It might be on my phone. But telling each large company, like who owns all of these companies, like Procter & Gamble owns all these dog food, cat food, people food, car wash products, all these different, all over. It's like a giant pie graph, and it shows who owns all these different things. And understand that the last show we did was on the food additives, and these people, they don't care.
Mm-hmm.
You're just supposed to walk the straight line through life. Don't veer off, please.
Yeah.
We don't want you to get out there
and
ask questions. Exactly. And I'm one of those people that always ask questions. You know what? You've heard me say it before. My joke is that she gets tired of me asking questions. She doesn't really, but she did make fun of me one time because she's like, you ask questions about everything. I said, I just want to know.
Okay, Brian said you are preaching to the choir, Chad. In my humble opinion, it's borderline organized crime with the grants and incentives. Just saying.
Amen, brother. Absolutely right. And I wouldn't say borderline. I'd say it's there. I know everybody in this chat has asked themselves, how can somebody on $174,000 salary within 2 to 3 years of getting that 174? Let me think. 174 times 3. I'm not going to do the math because I don't know much of math. Anyway, 174,000 times 3 doesn't make you a millionaire at all, not even close. But if you look at some of the politicians that just got in over the last 3-4 years, they're multi-millionaires.
Mm-hmm. So one that comes to mind is 30 million.
Oh, yeah. Elon Omar. Elon Omar. I'll say her name. Yeah, these people are worth so much. Now, people say, well, they have significant others that are worth a lot of money. Okay, well, let's look at how they got their money. Were they wealthy before? And if so, that's great. But we need to start looking at that. That's why term limits are a big thing. When you can be in a position of power and you can influence the laws that are created that might help out individual companies or a large conglomerate of companies, then maybe you shouldn't have stocks or have the ability to have stocks in those corporations or any corporation. You should be earning your $174,000 salary and whatever your significant other. That's the way I look at it. And I would hope the rest of you do too, but that's your, this is what I'm saying here is my opinion. That's why the little thing at the beginning, these are our opinions. Your opinion could be different. You know what? Kudos if it is. I'm not going to argue with it because that's what makes us America. And a lot of people have forgotten that. Like I said before, when I had the conversation, in fact, he hit me up today as well, when I posted the thing about carrying a firearm. Just because you have a CCW, if you interact with a police officer, you don't pull your gun out. You tell the officer, I have a firearm. I have a CCW. You hand him your permit. You hand him your driver's license. You keep your hand away from your firearm. You don't get in the police officer's face. You don't shove back. That's what you're taught when you go for a CCW. In fact, that's what you should be taught when you even learn about a gun and how to handle a gun. But now we're making one of the distractions, we're making it a big news story. I hate that somebody lost their life. Something as stupid as what's going on and losing your life over it. It used to be, for me, I would call this the process of weeding out people that didn't think with their brains, people that just wanted to rush in because of their feelings instead of thinking about it. The person that passed probably had a family. He had a mom and dad. That's a parent. But he thought more about himself. He thought more about people that came to this country illegally, that probably broke the law because that's what he was interfering with. And these types of things, whether you like it or not, you have to think what's right and wrong. What's more important to me? Is my wife more important? Trust me, I would be on the front lines. I'd be standing there with ICE. I have an ICE hat. I'd be standing there with them, helping them out. But being here with my wife is my number one priority and taking care of her. Or like last week, her taking care of me. Which, to be quite honest, she takes care of me a lot more than I take care of her. Just because I'm old.
Stop.
I'm just kidding.
Okay. when Clan Ken, y'all remember, or I believe that, no, all people in government are even human.
Yes.
But then,
I'm assuming he meant not all people
yeah.
in government are even human.
And then Gene said, oh, Ken, you've been seeing faces slip to lizard features too in our government people.
Hey, you know, that's one we'll dive down. I watched a lot of different research about who's running the world and who's been running it since the beginning of time, basically. And a lot of it, you can find actual info, artwork, cave drawings, Mesopotamian, Aztec, Egyptian. It's all there. It's, again, we go back to history and what we're supposed to believe or what they want us to believe. And then if you say this stuff, now you're crazy. Oh, reptilian hires. And, you know, people are like, reptilians, you believe in that stuff?
We're just observant.
Yeah. You know, we're just, that's what we do. We ask questions. Why are there a group of people that can't seem to get in trouble? They can seem to break the law and nothing happens to them.
Like exactly what Gene put earlier, we would be in jail if we abused and rerouted money to our own pockets like they do.
That's very good. That's correct.
It definitely doesn't work both ways.
And it's something that we can question. And again, it goes back to what can we do about it? Well, I haven't found a box of sunglasses laying around. If I find those, I'll pass them out to everybody.
Like your shirt.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I haven't found those sunglasses yet, but if I find them, I will be passing them out to everybody so we can wake up from this nightmare of, you know, I'm not going to say life is a nightmare. I actually think life is very nice. There are things in this life that are problematic. I wouldn't say that life in general is a nightmare. I have 2 beautiful kids. I have a beautiful wife. I have a beautiful house I'm living in with great neighbors in a beautiful community. So, and it took me a while to get to the point where I was positive about all of that. I mean, I can fall off the wagon and be negative about everything. I grew up that way. I grew up with you've probably heard me talk. My father, I love him to death, but he was one of the most negative people I'd ever met in my life. And it was tough to have any positive things to say about myself because I never heard anything positive about myself. I guess that was the old school way of thinking. But as far as this stuff goes, just pay attention to what's going on around you.
Gene says that, well, once you see something different, it opens something in your sight that you can see all things that are off with people.
You know, I don't know in chat wants to answer this question, but would you be okay if mental health homes opened back up? And I know that's a tough question for a lot of people because they might have a family member that has a disability or something like that. And the reason I say that is because I see a mental health factor in what's going on a lot out there these days. Now, I'm not talking about people dyeing their hair. Look, I don't have hair because I dyed my hair. I didn't dye it purple or blue. I bleached it and then dyed it black to try to get my hair color back. And it turned white. And then it just decided it didn't want to be a part of my head anymore. So, yeah. But we need to start paying attention. Don't fly off the handle about what you're seeing on the news, because this week it'll be something different. Just take it all in. Understand that everything is happening for a reason.
Mm-hmm. There's a bigger picture.
There is a much bigger picture. You know, we keep hearing, well, next year is going to be the end of the world, man. It's just going to be a total shit show. I think we're seeing that this year. I think we're seeing that because that's what they wanted to happen. They want us separated. We're coming up on the midterms next year. They want us at each other's throats. You know, remember how one side didn't believe in guns? And now they do? Because somebody with a gun doing something they shouldn't have done, got shot. And we say, well, if you have a CCW, you know how to present yourself. But they don't know that part yet, apparently. So they use that as a narrative now. And the left is saying, and again, I'm not left or right. Okay. I look at things with my brain.
But that's also the part about it is that once again, here we are, and they're trying to create a dividing line.
Yep. It's just getting worse and worse. And now we're talking about people coming out with, let me say this, more people at those protests are going to start carrying. They're going to, whether they do it legal or illegally, they're going to start carrying. Now, I posed the question and somehow it disappeared off the YouTube channel about what people thought the modern Civil War would be like. And how, back in the day, we dressed in gray, we dressed in blue, we knew who the enemy was, and that's how it worked. But nowadays, it's not going to be that way. And I wanted to know what everybody's opinions were on that. And I think in my opinion, it would be sort of like the IRA, the Protestants and the Catholics over in Ireland when they were fighting the English and the Irish Republican Army. You would have a lot of terrorism. You would have a lot of buildings being blown up. It wouldn't be somebody, unless you were a politician or a leader, being taken out. But I think that's the way it would be. It wouldn't be, as pretty as I would look in a Confederate uniform. I wonder what the new Confederate uniforms would look like.
Oh, God.
And my friend, Bud, unfortunately, he would be a Yankee. But we'd be brothers, so we couldn't fight each other. God. I couldn't do that. But it wouldn't be that way anymore. And it's not something I want to happen. Where's Jack Bauer when you need him? It's not something I want to happen, but we have to pay attention to that because, ladies and gentlemen, we're getting close. We're getting close to this country completely blowing up. I know some people have talked about another world war. We're kind of close to that too.
Very good point, Ken.
Ken, that's perfect.
When all is said and done, the money trail always leads to the real problem.
And I've, been around a lot of people that have the coexist bumper stickers on their car, and they're usually the worst ones, to be honest with you, as far as they really don't want to coexist. They just want life to be their way.
It is ironic to see those stickers sometimes.
Yeah.
And the hatred that comes out of them.
Yeah. I've seen them get out of their cars and yell, and now they have whistles and whatever. It's not coexisting. That's trying to change things to the way you want them to be. But I've always said there will never be peace on this earth. I say that pretty much every podcast. As long as greed and power are around, there will always be war. And it's it's in the Bible. I can't say it's in the Quran. I don't know enough about the Quran or the Torah or any of the other, but the Bible, the main one. And Bobby says we are in a spiritual warfare, big time. If you don't believe we're in a battle of good and evil right now, then you need to step back and take a look, because it's here. It just depends on what level it gets to. And quite honestly, neat thing I found on right before we came online is that a podcaster, independent news journalist, discovered a signal, which is a chat system, a signal thread involving what's going on in Minneapolis, and all the people that are forming these protests and how they talk to each other and how it's so organized from leaders. There's politicians involved, Antifa people. It's all planned out. It's all there. They have a hierarchy, and they've been planning this who knows how long. And whatever you do, don't believe that Antifa means anti-fascist, because it doesn't. I would consider myself an Antifa specialist as far as the United States and what's been going on here.
Oh, the research.
Yeah. The amount of protests I've watched, the amount of podcasts I've watched, the amount of news articles about what's happened to people. Andy knows a big one. He was an independent journalist that was attacked by Antifa. And then all of our Democrat politicians. And again, I don't want to make this a Democrat Republican thing. Both sides suck, honestly. But when you have people physically say they don't exist, it's not a thing. Then after watching it for as long as I have, and I'm thinking to myself, you got to be crazy. I've seen it. They wear black bloc. They even have symbols. The anti-fascist symbol, which is the red and black flag with the person holding it. And it's all there. It's been happening. It's in Europe as well. It's a little different in Europe than it is in the United States, but it's here. And I think that's one of the big problems. They are 99% of them are not Christians. They don't believe in God. So there's your evil right there. That's just the basic. You got to think about the politicians that are involved in all this. Boy, I'm way off topic on this, but it all kind of goes back to changing your mind all the time. Agreed, Brian. I like being called an American more than either. Absolutely. We are Americans.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's no other way around it. We were born here. I love my country. I love people like Bigfoot Bud because he served our country. He helped do things for our country that make our country great. Any veteran, any first responder, any law enforcement agent, officer, you have done things more people in this country will never do in their life. Mm-hmm. And for that, you earn my respect. Now, are there bad ones? Yes. Are there bad police officers? Yes. Bad soldiers? Yes. That's just how life works. It's that way in everything. But my respect goes out to all of those people. And I come from a long line of military, and I have, unfortunately, have the flags downstairs to prove it. But, well, this is more of a venting session for me tonight, wasn't it?
Hey, it's good. We've kept everybody entertained.
Well, I'm glad you all stayed here. I know politics are a tough thing to talk about. But again, with conspiracy theory, that's politics as well. Whether we talk about, MK Ultra politics, all of that was done by the CIA stuff. I truly believe that what's going on right now, these are psyops created to divide us by the higher ups.
Absolutely.
I've said it before and I'll say it again. We are ants. That's all we are. Sit there one day and just watch an anthill operate and think to yourself, well, it'll be easier. Watch the movie Ants because that is so well done. I know it's a cartoon, but it's so well done when it shows the hierarchy of how everything operates. But if you sit down and watch an anthill, you see so much more. It's interesting. Brian says we all need to vent. Well, I tell you what, everybody.
You're safe here.
You're safe
Even if we don't agree with you, it's like.
Absolutely, because I'm an American. Okay? I'm not a left-wing agitator. I'm not a right-wing agitator. I'm an American. I'll fight for my country, good or bad. Whatever's happening, I'll fight for my country. I love my country. I'll fight for our rights. And I hope that every American in here does that. I hope every American out there does that. Because this is what we got. Our forefathers created this country for us to live the style of life that we wanted to. What was the other thing I wanted to bring up? Maybe it was in here. And that had to do with, I had sent something to you about beauty, or I posted that. I don't think I have that meme anymore. How society wants, to believe that, you can be, if you wear the certain makeup, you can be beautiful. If you dress a certain way, you can be cool. If you do this, you can be whatever. Everybody be yourself.
Mm-hmm.
You hear all these people, these women and men getting the Ozempic shots for what they don't need Ozempic for and looking like Skeletor. What's the sense in it? It's because they want everybody else to go, oh my gosh, look how great you look. We should love each other the way we are.
Because Yes, you may achieve the results that you were looking for, but honestly, that's not the end of it.
Yeah, you're going to have to
There
go
are
visit
other
pharma.
side effects. You're going to be on other medications. You'll have other conditions develop. It's not a perfect road. How many diets have people been on? How many people seek the latest diet? It's just something to keep you hanging on.
Yeah. And
Now, that is crazy, Gene. I seen an ad for Weight Watchers that pushes shots and meds to lose weight. That's surprising. I've never been a member of Weight Watchers, but what little I know, that just shows you right there. They're following the trends. What's the latest? They've had how long have they been around? 30 years, maybe at least.
how many people stick by their diets? That's the one I know that I knew people that did the Atkins. They did Weight Watchers. They did Nutrisystem, and they did all these diets because they weren't sticking with the diet. Or I'll be okay. A prime example. We did Advocare before our marriage. I thought I looked the best I'd looked since high school, which I didn't even look that great in high school, but I felt confident in myself. What happened? Well, we came back from our wedding and I started eating a lot of cheeseburgers because I like cheeseburgers. And I gained that weight back, and it's my fault, but I wasn't going to do another diet to lose that weight again. I knew that I had to do something. Where am I at now? Criming. I'm 58 years old. I'm happy with where I am, what I'm doing. Probably should get a little more activity, but that's for you to do. Don't listen to other people. The only reason you should be doing anything is for your health. If you have cancer, then do what you think you should do for cancer, etc. Anyway,
we had a lot of people come in that we haven't gotten to say hi to. People, so, yeah. But Bud was one of the later ones, Ken, and then Carmen, Brian, Leanne, Bobby, and let's see, Tammy, and Michael Haywood. I know Patrick was on there too. So everybody, thank you. Thank you for joining us. Even if it's for a minute, obviously we understand. We talked about it in the beginning of the show that it's nice that you can check in, but keep your electronics charged if you are in an area where you might get, that's obviously priority, is take care of yourself and your family. And we love to see you popping in here.
Here's something I want to promote. It hasn't anything to do with keeping your stuff charged, but it's an RFID bag. It's your phone, if you've never noticed, because nobody ever goes into the users, but it'll tell you that your phone needs to stay 3 to 4 feet away from you when you sleep at night. I don't know why it's when you sleep at night only, but when you sleep at night.
Probably
this is basically
you can't run away from it.
This is basically an EMP bag. So I can drop my phone in there. It seals it up 100%, and no whether it's an
that sounds good.
An electromagnetic pulse from the sun, or whoever wants to let up a nuclear device over our heads. But this also, it protects from that, burning your phone up. But it also, at night, if you don't use your phone, slide it into one of these. And then, it goes like that. And then you fold it over, and that keeps any of the electromagnetic waves from coming out. And this has been something that's been proven to cause cancer.
Tammy on Amazon.
Amazon, yeah. Everything I buy I research it. Make sure you research it, because they'll sell you ones that they say are, but that aren't. So research the company. Mm-hmm. And I'd have to look this one up again. I think it's on here. Oh, now my phone's on inside the bag. But this one's Cressita. And I don't know if it's made in the United States or not. I do try to buy everything in the United States or made in the United States. But just look for little things like that. It make you a little healthier. Our electronic gadgets aren't the greatest thing for us. And
I personally have no issue stepping away from my phone.
The problem with that is I'll try to get a hold of her, And then I come in, it's like, I have texted you 15 times.
I also don't have my volume on very often.
I was like, I've been trying to get a hold of you. I texted you 15 times and you're not answering me. And yeah, so it is what it is. We laugh about it. It's never been an emergency situation.
Yeah, it's not been an issue.
Let's go with real wood. But anyway, I think that's all we have for today. Next week, we'll be here next week unless we get sick. I know I've heard something about this part of Tennessee getting some massive snowstorm. I don't know that for a fact yet, but that's what I hear. If it happens and we lose power, we won't be here. If it happens and we don't lose power, we will be here as long as I'm not sick or she's not sick.
Yeah.
We'll do something. Maybe we'll have an Erica organized show.
Maybe.
And see where we go from there.
Yeah.
I thank you for being here. We thank you listening to my rant. I could rant for hours more, but
he could. If y'all ever have an idea for a show topic that is related to any of the topics we've discussed tonight,
yeah,
he would be game on.
I wanted our podcast to be more conspiracy theory and things like that, but as time has progressed, I'm seeing more and more going on with everything around us, and that is still involved in the conspiracy theories that I believe in. So I like to talk about them. I like other people to be able to talk about them, share information. And I think we do that well in this chat. And that's for sure. And yeah, so apparently, if I'm to understand, there's a Beards and Boogers tonight at 8:00 Eastern. Yeah, so that's about getting ready to happen. Oh no, we got an hour. Thanks for giving me an hour, Jerry. Jeez. Anyway, I have no idea what the topic is. There's really never a topic with beards and boogers. Sometimes we talk about beards. Sometimes we talk about boogers.
Okay, what about all the companies coming back to make America great again? And now he wants to bring China students here for training to work in them.
Remember when I said earlier that I don't back a politician 100%? Obviously, I'm going to have to see what happens with that. But every politician does things that we don't want them to do. That could be something fiscally for the United States. I don't know. I've heard it. I don't know if I like it. I really think that we need to focus on U.S. people and jobs here in the United States for Americans. And Jerry said, I messaged you, Chad. Jerry, I'm doing a show, man. Come on, man. I didn't know where my phone's at, to be honest with you.
Well, you just put it in your pouch.
Oh, yeah. It's in my pouch. But that's fine, Jerry. No problem. We've already had dinner, so I'm good to go.
I know.
She made an awesome chili, but she makes the best sweet cornbread. It's dessert, is what it is.
It really is like
it really is. She could put icing on it, and I'd be happy.
Oh,
I don't
God.
know what kind of icing, but anyway. Okay, well, we're going to let everyone go. Enjoy their evening. Thank you very, very much for being here.
Thank you.
Please hit the thumbs up button. Subscribe if you haven't. We have a YouTube page. Obviously, you're here now. So I should have thought about that before I said it. And we also have a Facebook page. From the YouTube page, we only post mostly our videos, and I'll put quiz now and then. And yes, it does taste like cake, Leanne. And every once in a while, I'll post a quiz. My YouTube page I use to post memes, thoughts, and just a lot of times those memes and thoughts might pertain to the show we're going to do for the following week. Not all the time.
Yeah, could.
I lay here at night.
Or that might influence us on her show.
I'll lay here at night and she's the greatest sleeper in the world. She's gone. So I'm like laying trying to get my brain to stop. And what am I doing to try to get my brain to stop? I'm on my phone. And that's usually when my memes go out, or it's when I'm collecting my memes that I want. I did make a meme today that I am so proud of. Mm-hmm. If you haven't checked out the Oddcast Podcast Facebook page, if you're not a member, join. It's free. But it was a meme I made, Simpson style. Yeah. I think it's funny. If you don't, I'm sorry.
We love seeing y'all here.
Yes.
Thank you for joining us, and good luck with everything. I know everybody needs it with the kind of unpredictable weather that's going on. So
yeah, I think tonight, like I said, I think tonight might be our worst night, as far as because of the cold and the moisture in the air. So, yeah. What are you proud of me for? Thank you, Leanne. Erica doesn't even tell me that.
oh, whatever. That is a lie.
She tells me that all the time.
Oh, Bobby, rub it in.
You know, is there any way we can block Bobby?
I think she's in Florida.
I'm just kidding, Bobby. We love you. We love everybody here.
We love you guys.
So yeah, we'll be back with you next week. I keep saying I'm going to start doing some shorts, and I haven't. I see Spencer. If Spencer can do it, I can do it.
Knock it off.
So I'll figure it out.
We'll do it.
We'll do some shorts.
We just haven't.
Yeah. So,
focused
with
on
being
that.
sick this week, I didn't focus on anything really. So, but anyway.
Yep. Thank you so much.
Big love, everybody.
Yes, big love. We will see you next Sunday. That's going to be February 1st.
No.
Oh my God.
Today's the 25th?
Oh.
No.
Yes.
Today's the 25th?
Yes, honey.
Ooh.
Wow.
Okay.
All right.
Thanks, Gene.
We will definitely be happy to see y'all next week. Yeah, we'll pick out the topic and share it on Facebook between now and then. So have a great week. Good luck with everything with the weather, and hope everybody stays warm or cool. And we'll see you then.
God bless America.
Big love.
Big love, y'all.
Bye.